In today's show, we discuss, has social media and the internet destroyed society?
And now, the TNT Talk Show, daring to go where other podcasts fear to tread.
Hello, I'm Tony Fasulo, and I share the stage with my esteemed friend and colleague, Taya Boya. Taya, hello, my friend, once again. I hope you keep it safe and well.
You better not. you
You
better
jumped in
freaking not,
before I
man.
did. You said the word just in time.
Hello, audience.
Hooray.
How are you all? And yes, I wanted to make a thing about. I wanted to pull up some information quickly. Do you happen to remember the name of the band that played the song "Big in Japan"?
Alphaville. Gosh,
Alphaville.
how did I pull that out from years back?
No,
My
well done,
goodness.
well done, Alphaville. Well, we are not quite out of Alphaville, the TNT talk show right now. We're not big in Japan, but we appear to be big in Frankfurt am Main in Germany for
Okay.
some peculiar reason. So hello to everyone and loads of guys. Frankfurt, well, a load of downloads in Frankfurt am Main. And yeah, I'm very curious as to why we're big in big in Germany and big in Frankfurt. And it'd be lovely if you could write into us and get in touch, and we'll probably read out things. I think we're going to start reading stuff out
Yeah,
from
we will do from our listeners. So
from our
if you
listeners.
engage with us a bit more, we will read out some of the comments and
Mm,
some of the suggestions you make just during the show. So you don't have to come onto the show, of course, but we can read out your comments that you leave us. And talking about comments, if you please continue to like, comment, and subscribe to our show on whatever platform you happen to consume it on. It does our numbers the world of good, and we really appreciate it. But please keep the comments coming in, because then we know what you like, what you dislike about Teo, and everything else.
well, anyway, so Frankfurt. I didn't know that the town, the city we call Frankfurt. That's not its full name. Its full name is Frankfurt am Main.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Frank Fort, the fort of the Franks,
Oh,
the fort of the Franks on the River Main.
I
Frankfurt am Main. So isn't
see.
that interesting?
It is interesting, yes. Hello to those listeners, and also everywhere else that you happen to be
Obviously.
consuming our platform and listening to our show. Now, again, if you're consuming our platform on our platform, you're listening to our show or watching our show on the many platforms out there. Obviously, like, comment, and subscribe on those platforms you're consuming our content on. But if you want to get in touch with us directly, Tayo's got it on his display. We have an email address that is available for everybody to use. It's TNT Talk Show, no spaces, at mail.com. So you can get in touch with us directly via that method. And again, say anything you like, really, about the show, what you like, what you dislike, any topics that are floating your boat that you want us to discuss. By all means, we're all ears, and we do appreciate those sorts of comments and feedback from you, our listening audience. So yeah, please keep those coming in. Right,
One
on
last
with
thing.
today's show. Oh no, you're going to do your one little question. Sorry, I'll let you do that.
My one little question. When experts tell us to trust the science, but we're not allowed to question the experts, what exactly are we trusting?
That's an interesting point. It's a paradox. But
Hmm.
but the thing is, they're all the scientists. So they're saying, the experts are saying, trust the science, but they're not the scientists, are they?
Well, they are the scientists, aren't they? The so-called experts.
Thing is, strangely enough, this is actually a relevant topic. What you're bringing up for our topic of today, that
Hmm.
shows how relevant that is. So Today, we've actually got a multi topic episode, but that's time permitting, of course. I don't think we're going to get past the first one, but there you go. And the first topic for today is: has social media and the internet actually destroyed society? Now, Taya, this was one of yours. And we want to say why you would pick this particular topic at this time.
Oh, because there was a debate that I was watching when, well, not a debate, sorry. There was a polemic. Someone was a bit upset with modern social, well, with society, with modern society, and I think it was a he, might have been a she, laid the blame squarely on social media and said that social media has amplified. Well, she gave many reasons that you probably want to get into yourself, so I won't spoil it for
Okay.
anyone. But
Okay.
she was saying that it's a, yeah, so was a she. She was saying that it's an amplification of the ills, and that the things that would have been local and localized previously are now globalized, and that it's been a very negative effect on our society.
I, I think she's onto something because let's be honest, aren't the algorithms designed to show us only what we agree with?
Here's where we're going to run into trouble here. Well, not trouble, but we're going to have a disagreement here. You see, I don't think that it's social media at all. I don't think that's the problem
Do you think of the internet as a
whatsoever.
whole?
Sorry?
Do you think it's the internet?
I don't think it's the internet. I don't think it's social media.
Go
I
on.
think the main problem with humans is humans.
So
Humans are the
so you're
problem.
saying if we use the platform and we're doing it to ourselves, the platform's just like a gun. You
Yeah,
don't the gun doesn't cause a problem unless you fire it.
exactly. And so when you were saying you thought this was going to be a long discussion, it was like, well, actually, it's not. It's a misdirection. It's a misdirection to blame technology. I mean, first of all, who created the technology? Humans. It was
Yeah.
bad technology. It came from us. And then I don't even think that the technology itself is bad. It's nuclear energy. We can use it to heat our homes, power our factories, for all sorts of good things. But no, someone had to build it into a bomb and ever bigger bombs until it became planet-threatening bombs. It's not the nuclear energy in itself. It's always us.
Okay. So with with that argument you've just said about nuclear energy, it's always us. I agree. You can blame that and label that on us humans for everything because we create the stuff. I get that. But isn't that too simplistic a view? Surely we have to look at what it's doing to the population, and it is doing it because there's evidence to show the internet and social media is actually rewiring our brains for short-term dopamine hits. We're actually looking for those likes, and we're changing the way we behave because of social media, because we're seeking out those likes. It's almost like it's now our friend that you want to get likes, and so that sort of proves your value by the amount of likes you get, and it gives you this short term dopamine hit. And it's incredible because, and that change has sort of affected a lot of people who use social media a lot because their attention span is now gone. They can't read a deep, meaningful book. They tend to get bored really quickly because, they used to say, oh, you used to have to grab someone's attention within the first eight seconds. If you're doing that now, you're never going to grab anyone's attention because now it's reduced to a second or two. So unless
Sorry, what were you saying?
you Very good. Yeah, so it's reduced even more, and that is attributable to social media and the way social media behaves. So,
Mm,
so it does have a cause and effect. So you can't say it's totally without blame and
mm.
blameless.
Here's the thing. Once upon a time, you might have inveigled me. I think it's inveigled, actually. I've always got mispronounced that word. Never mind. You might have, I
Wound
don't
you
want to say
up.
seduced me because that's a little, You might have, let's just go very simple. You might
Okay.
have convinced me with that approach. However, unfortunately, I remember because I'm an old man, although perhaps in some cases here not too old, but I remember when I was young being told pretty much the same thing about television. How television was going to rot our brains. And my dad laughed and said when he was young, he was told that the radio was going to destroy conversations. And that his grandfather told him that novels were going to corrupt the youth with dangerous ideas. Every time a new technology comes out, it's the end, it's the end. It's rewiring our brains. People were saying, well, obviously, I
AI. We
mean,
had the show about AI. That's the modern one now.
well, that's it. And do you, I don't know if you've heard this, but you may have. There was a time when people were saying that if trains went over 30 miles an hour, it would blow people's lungs out of their chests. Do you remember?
Yes.
Have you
Yes, I
heard that?
do remember
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
And they
yeah,
were
yeah.
saying, yeah, it's too dangerous. And cars, they used to have someone walking in front of the car waving a red flag because the car was on its way. There, we've got a show on the books that we haven't done, and I'm really looking forward to doing it. Which is, I think I call it messianic doomsayers. That there are people out there who get off on predicting doom. I mean, they love it, and then they become the high priests and high priestesses of doom. Oh, woe is us. Yeah, everybody's got to stay home. Don't open your window. Don't crack open the windows because of the light, not the light. Things like it's like what?
Oh,
Look,
come on. There's a spectrum, and you're on that spectrum.
excuse me.
You're on that spectrum.
I'm not.
You are. You're a doom and gloom merchant. You have been. We
Hold on
had
a
a
second. Hold
discussion
on.
off air.
A gloom. No, a messianic doomsayer is one who proposes a solution which gives them an opportunity to virtue signal.
Yep.
And they say, well, if everybody's got to take the jab, everybody's got to take the vaccine, because otherwise we'll all die. Or, hey, climate change, we've all got to do this. Otherwise, we're all going to be, we're all doomed, right? I'm not saying that. I'm saying we're doomed. It's not doesn't matter what you do, man. I'm saying just chill.
Oh dear Lord.
So I'm not your classic. I'm not a messianic doomsayer because I'm saying there's nothing you can do about it.
Well, that's
It's
a doom and
it's like,
gloom. You might as well have a sign that says the end is nigh. I mean,
yeah, but why do you have to be so negative, Tony? I thought you were an optimist
I
merchant.
am.
An
It's
optimism.
just you are the one
So
that's
I'm
being.
saying, since we're all going to flipping conk, why don't we
At
just
some
have a
point, yeah.
vodka? Just have a vodka. Just relax, man. Just chill. It's just like take it easy. Be stress free.
Oh,
This is my
absolutely.
approach. It's a
I
very
mean,
happy, live for today because tomorrow we're definitely dead. So
you've
I'm not.
converted.
Huh? What?
You've gone from the dark side to the light. What's the matter? This is not the Tyre that I've known for
It's
the
the
last
effulgence
million
of all
years.
light. It's the effulgence of all light. It's. I finally broke through to the other side. As I've always told you, my problem before was I hadn't quite reached the apex of perfection, but as soon as I became humble, I achieved it. Perfection.
Oh dear me.
Right? So there we are. And I'm telling you from this, I don't know, lotus leaf, the center of the lotus of perfection that I have achieved. I'm telling you, there's no need to worry about technology. It's not the technology that's going to kill us. It's us misusing the technology that will kill us.
Well,
But you don't
but
blame technology. You don't blame technology. Now, where you've got an argument, and I'm looking forward to how you're going to handle this. Where you've got a legitimate argument is this: there is an intermix between humanity, between humans and technology, and that intermix, that interface, is social media. So, without the technology, we wouldn't have social media.
indeed.
Now, in that case, can you make a case to convince me, from that point of view, sorry, can you make a case to convince me that social media, which is to say, it's the intermix of the two, of human base instinct and neutral, if you like, neutral technology, that it's a particular form of danger to society?
Well, the obvious one is the fact that we're now using it as our pleasure system, and some people are really hooked on social media, and their friendships now, they don't have proper friendships with other people in a physical term. They don't go out for meals anymore. They, if you go out for something to eat, guess what? You got to photograph it, because if you haven't photographed it and you're not posting it, has it really happened? They're literally almost living their lives as a performance. Everything is now changed. So the person they were has morphed into this other person who thrives, or thrives is not even the term I want to use, who exists almost based on social media, because they want to get as many likes, which they believe is their way of giving them value, as possible. So they've lost all detachment with the real world, because they're living in this pseudo virtual world, and which Meta, which is the main one that's driving Facebook, Instagram, and the ilk, wants a metaverse. So they want us to go even further down this rabbit hole, where we put on goggles and we're in a different environment, and we act in this new world that they're creating called the metaverse. So they want us to go even more heavily in it. So what's the person left outside? Are they a human? Are they what? All they're doing is going to the toilet, stuffing the basic food in, hardly getting any sleep, putting the goggles on and back in. Living a life online instead of living it in the physical world where life is actually happening. And that's the worry. That's one of the things about social media, where in small doses, yeah, of course it's beneficial. Of course it is. Because let's give it a simple example where it's positive. I'm going to not slate it completely. Because let's say you had an interest, a niche interest. You live somewhere and you had a really, I don't know, you collected stamps of a particular order, and you only lived in a village. The chances of you meeting someone in the village, your small, circle of influence, was tiny, who shared the same interest as you. However, because of social media now, you can share that interest online, and there's bound to be other people that will share a similar affiliation to you, similar interest. So you create a little community online, and that gives you some positive. So that's good. I'm saying that's a great thing, because you've now found a community online, and they could be all over the world, whereas before you were demographically bound. So that's positive. But what we've just touched on, the ones where it becomes an obsession and it follows you around and listens to what you do, that's a separate issue, which we'll discuss a bit later in the show.
Now, here's the thing. If you said it's a problem, but what you've actually described, is a society where people interact differently from their forebears. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's an evolution of society. It's a society evolving in its own peculiar way. Why is it a bad thing if we can't meet one another face to face, but we're happier to meet online? Then that's just the way it is. I know from my manosphere involvement that women are in America, as usual, are complaining. And when I say as usual, I mean my data comes from America. I'm trying to fix that, by the way. That in America, women are complaining that they are not approached by men in person, but only online. On the other hand, men say, well, we used to approach you in person, but then you told us you didn't want to be approached, that we made you uncomfortable. So we approach you online, and then it's up to you to accept the approach or not. And we ourselves prefer, because we're not going to get humiliated face to face, with very severe, unnecessarily severe rejections. So it's an evolution. I mean, some people don't like it. The women don't like it, although I suspect that, when it changes and they approach them again, they'll be like, no, we preferred it online. You know how it is. But I
Although
won't take
the fear of men of rejection, that's life, is it not? You
Well,
need to
that's what
have a
makes you a
backbone.
man.
Yeah, exactly. So you got to get rejected. So them hiding and doing it only online is a bit weak. Sorry.
Well, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go
No,
there with you.
okay. Okay.
And the other thing is this. What really got me was a new year. Maybe the new year of January 1st, December 31st, 2023, going into 24. I think that was the one where I was watching the new year rolling in, and the crowds on the banks of the River Thames, right?
Yeah.
They were standing there with their phones out, recording the fireworks.
Yep. Rather than experiencing the
And
fireworks.
I'm thinking about it, but you're there.
I know. I
Okay,
know.
you're right there. Just put your phone down and look.
I
No, you're
know.
just staring at the screen, but the screen is smaller than this huge sky in front of you. Just like, dude, or rather, all these people, just you look up. Don't that film. Don't look up. Have you
Yeah.
watched it
Don't
yet?
look
You
up.
should.
Yeah. Yeah. I have. Yeah. Brilliant film.
Excellent. I'm glad you liked it. It's just look up. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And there's that aspect of it but and then again, I think this was my wife who said that in the long run, people are more comfortable because they've got more control over the screen, over the thing in their hand. They can control the interaction better, and it's safer. They feel safer than. And you and I were brought up at a time when we were like, oh, get out there and just risk it. But the world has gotten to the point where these are the same people. Their parents, I think, were told, don't go out without a helmet on. Don't go out without knee pads, elbow pads. This is just to ride a bicycle, right? I'd never even seen a blooming helmet when I was young. I was on a bicycle on roads with cars zooming by.
Exactly.
Nobody
Exactly.
nobody thought anything
I
anything of
remember
it.
being on a bike and actually going head over heels on the bike. I had no helmet, I had no nothing. I remember the chain coming off the bike
All
itself
right.
and it dug into my back of my calf and left marks all the way down the leg and my head. I was concussed because I'd literally flipped over, gone into a pothole. The front wheel had jammed in and the back wheel went up. I
Mm.
went with it and went over the top. It was a reasonable speed. I was racing a friend and it could have been even worse, but I was knocked out for 30 seconds after that. So yeah, helmets, what are they? But
Unfortunately, you didn't make my point for me. What you've actually done is demonstrate that we should have been wearing it.
I know,
That some of us should have been wearing helmets.
I know.
That wasn't the point I was trying to make, pal.
Okay. Well,
Huh?
that shows it, doesn't it? Let's be honest. When this is health and safety gone mad, though it hasn't. You've got to get the balance right, where you do have to protect people. Remember, I mean, we can laugh about it now. The protections that we didn't have growing up. I remember just in a playground, describing a playground compared to now. I mean, we had some of the things were lethal. Did you ever be on a playground, those climbing frames? They were quite high. You fell. You're
Maybe
falling on solid concrete.
maybe I don't know what, 15, 20 feet.
Oh, on
And
solid
I was
concrete.
racing up there and I was bouncing around from one place to the other and playing catch with my friends.
I know.
And we looked like gibbons, and trying to catch one another. And it was like 20 feet off the
I
ground
know,
or
off the
something,
ground,
straight
yeah.
onto concrete.
Yeah,
you know.
solid concrete.
But we were a robust race at that time.
And some of
Now
the,
people just burst into tears just looking at it and stuff.
I know.
Not good
No,
enough,
I'm
to be
not
honest.
saying that, well, are we, because of this? And I know it's slightly a tangent to the topic, but is it because you've just said about people feeling safer doing it online than in person? And that is a fear that doesn't hold in the real world, because there's one element that's missing. One element that's missing if you don't meet in person. There's a hormone in the body called oxytocin, and it's almost like the happiness hormone. And that only seems to be generated when you're in physical contact or extremely close proximity to other humans or animals. Now, if you've got a pet and that's your contact point, your physical contact point, everyone else is online, then the pet will give you the oxytocin that your body needs, because that close proximity, the stroking, of the animal also produces it. But if you're on your own and you're conducting everything online, you're missing out on this vital component for your well-being. And there is evidence to show that people who only converse online and don't ever meet others at all for really long periods of time, they're actually affecting their mental health because of this lack of oxytocin. So oxytocin is a key component to not physical contact, but physical proximity of other human beings. So why is that? So there clearly is a benefit of meeting physically. So yes, you can do a lot of work, a lot of benefit online. I'm not dismissing online working, but you do need to balance it. And the key to all of this is balance. Have we got the balance right? Social media, as you said at the start, isn't, the spawn of the devil, for instance. But in certain areas, you have to be careful of it. The same with anything else. With a gun, you have to respect the gun. You've got to be careful with it. You wouldn't give a gun to a child.
They do in America,
And some
apparently.
bits, and some bits of social media are a bit like that. They're like a loaded gun, and you have to be mindful of it. The internet as a whole too. You've got to be mindful.
Yeah, but is this the fault of the technology? I mean, frankly, you brought up the gun. Is it the fault of the gun?
Well, the difference with the technology is that it has an all-encompassing issue. That's the problem, because it can lead you down a rabbit hole. The gun is a gun. You see what it does. Yes, if you pick it up, you operate it incorrectly, it can be dangerous. But so can social media, because it can lead you down a rabbit hole that you start to believe things that may not necessarily be true, but you are now siloed into thinking that they are true because it only provides you with the things you agree with. It doesn't give you alternative viewpoints. So you start to get hardened thinking in a particular way, and it causes polarization. I mean, okay, I'll give you a little simple example.
I think that's a little too
Well,
sweet
okay,
an argument.
if you think it's a bit too, look at TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
TikTok now. Why is there a difference between a TikTok we get in the West and a TikTok that they produce in China? Blatantly different. If it didn't have a element of, you would think, what's going on here? Why is
No,
there
I'm not
one?
saying it isn't propaganda. I'm just saying it's not technology.
No,
I
but
mean,
the technology.
if you only bought, I mean, back in the 70s, there was, I don't know if the paper is still out there. There was a paper which I think had the word the name Red. Was it the Red Star or the Star or something?
There's the
It was like
Daily Star.
the Daily Star. Was it the communist paper? Was it?
No, it
Okay,
was
there
it
was.
was ridiculous. It was bordering on
No, there was one that was
soft
really for
porn.
like for communists. I mean, back in those days, if you
Oh,
bought it, you were a communist.
I do
No, no, this.
remember it, but I can't remember the title of the newspaper.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was like the Red something or the Red Star or something. Anyway, you could buy that, and that was your ecosystem, and that was in print. So an ecosystem is it can be anything. I mean, certain channels, I suppose. I mean, okay, even today, if you are in America, if you watch just Fox News,
Hmm.
that will give you one point of view, and if you watch, I don't know, what's it,
ABC or CNN.
MSNBC, whatever it's called,
Yeah.
yeah, you get another point of view. So that's another blooming silo. I mean, it's all fake and everything because at the end of the day, it's the uni party, but it's not the technology. It's us. It's humans. You haven't convinced me that you're blaming the right party. And
Well,
China, they've got their issues too, So
no, I'm not
they're,
saying
they're
China haven't, but if it wasn't a problem, if it wasn't a problem, why is China's version of TikTok showing positive stuff? And what I mean by that, they show, kids doing well at school. They show academic stuff, any tasks that they've completed. It's quite a positive way of looking at it. I mean, their TikTok is called Douyin or something.
talking about the
Um,
Red Book or whatever you're talking about.
no,
Are you sure? Red Note.
is it Red Note? Is that what it's
Red Note.
called? Oh,
This is
maybe.
where, when they shut down TikTok in the US, all these Americans went and moved over to the Chinese one, and they were saying, "Hey, this is pretty cool, man. I didn't realize." Is that the one you're talking about?
It could be.
Yeah, Red Note. It's called Red Note, the
Okay.
Red Note. And they were surprised about the sort of the interactions between people, how it wasn't as fractious
As
as
aggressive, yeah.
as aggressive as ours. But it's all kumbaya crap, isn't it? So
No, but
from
the
my
difference
from my
is
point of view,
they
I'm one of those humans that is like I'm one of the problems, man. Okay, I'm one of the problematic humans.
we know.
Yeah. So when you're all doing your kumbaya, I just roll my eyes, man. I'm like, oh, good lord. And then we got to get out there, man. And ooh, it's like,
I
oh
mean,
my
okay,
god.
I'm going to throw in a slight conspiracy here,
Mm-hmm.
right? Using the TikTok as the example, why is it that the TikTok in China shows, kids doing science experiments or engineering feats at a young age and patriotism and positive angled stuff,
Mm-hmm.
whereas over here we've got dangerous pranks and polarizing topics and polarizing politics and all the negative stuff. Now,
I
I'm
know
not
the answer, but
saying
you wouldn't like it.
you what?
I
You
know the
wouldn't like.
answer, but you wouldn't like it.
Go on.
You sure?
Yeah, you might as well. That's what our show's about. Tell me.
Okay. In China, they still got their women under control, but in the West, we haven't. That's the problem. Women in control. Women are in control in the West. And as we've recently discussed in one of our shows, women in control cause chaos and eventually end the civilization. And we're on that downward spiral. China, they're still amping up to that point. I mean, the women are no longer, what's what I'm looking for? They're no longer, what's the opposite? Oppressed to 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 a very high degree, but they're still controlled. I mean, but they are fighting their way out of it. And the weaker men, as usual, will let them fight their way out of it because that's what weak men do. And then give them 50, 60 years, and they'll be just as crummy as us because that's the way it goes. It's it was mentioned in 1932 by a chap called J.D. Unwin in his book Sex and Culture, And to date, nobody has, in my opinion, successfully refuted anything he said till today. So almost 100 years later, yeah, it's just the way things are. That if you don't have strong masculine men laying down hard and fast rules with serious consequences if you break it, then humans will do what humans always want to do, which is what they want to do without any boundaries. It's what kids want to do. Kids want to act the way they want to act. They want it all and they want it now. And if they can't have it, they throw a tantrum. But they shouldn't get it. They need somebody needs to say, no, it's not good for you. I know better. And then you say, well, that's patriarchy. That's oppressive. You're oppressing me. And if you let go, if the kid, then if you listen to the child and says, okay, I don't want to oppress you, go and do what you want, child's not going to work out all right. We know that.
But that's not. Yeah, okay. I don't like the fact that we keep steering that towards a
I didn't tell you you're not going to like it. You insisted. I said you wouldn't like it.
Okay. That's your viewpoint.
I wanted to say
I understand weak decision making, but then you don't want to get to the point where you become authoritarian either. We want a healthy balance. So you need to have common sense. Common sense
is one of the hardest things to achieve.
Indeed.
Balance.
Yes.
I mean, it's the whole crux of the matter. No, it's not the solution. You're saying that balance is the solution. Tony, you're wrong. Balance is not the solution. Balance is the problem. How do you achieve it? That's the problem. All societies have struggled with that, since forever, and will continue to, because it's blooming difficult. And if we knew how to, we'd solve it. And then guess what? If we solved it, the technology wouldn't be a problem, would it?
Very true.
There we go. We are the problem.
We are the problem, but we're not making it any easier when you've got social media and certain algorithms working against us. I mean, could I make this claim, whether it's true or not? I'll see what your opinion is. Is the algorithms, conspiracy in a way, is the algorithm from social media weaponized against us?
Yeah, I don't like the word weaponized.
Well, that's why I'm making it as a
utilized against us. Utilized.
Utilized for what reason?
Profit.
If it's just the social media,
profit.
Purely
in China,
profit.
It's run by the government. The government doesn't need to profit, so it can be more avuncular, as you're saying, more about children, doing well in science classes and so on and so forth. Here, it's dog eat cat too. I want my platform to earn profits, and the more it earns profit, the less yours does. So you fight back, and then we're in a tooth and nail fight for profit.
So we can't say that social media companies in the West are giving us like a digital sweets and candy because that's what we want, whereas in authoritarian environments, their social media gives them digital spinach.
Yes. Yeah, very good way. Fantastic way of putting it. I like how you put it. Exactly. But let's not forget, who built society? We did.
And also, we have to be strong enough to not take the digital candy and sweets. We have to be able to say, enough is enough. But that's the problem. Mm-hmm. Are we now creating a problem? But the thing is, you've got to have curbs in society. You've got to have some boundaries. We've already touched on that. But then you don't want to suppress innovation. You don't want to suppress the company profits. Or do you? If they're not paying any taxes, that's a separate question. But are the social media companies then, are they too intrusive in all the data that they collect from us? Because we're the commodity. Think about that. We're the commodity.
We are the commodity. Mm-hmm.
Would it be better?
Do you want to start paying for YouTube? Well, I suppose some people pay for YouTube already. I don't know why, but some people already do. Do you want to pay 3 or 4 times more? No, you don't. And maybe YouTube can't even get you to pay 3 or 4 times more. But what they can do is monetize the hell out of you. Which is what they do. And I'm not just trying to dunk on YouTube. I'm saying all social media in the West. This is how they make their money. And that's just how things work in the West. Now, I don't know. You've raised a really interesting point with China. I really like that point, by the way, about Chinese. And I think you maybe should have played stronger to it during the show, because then I think you could have got somewhere with me. Because that's an interesting question. That is the current Chinese model showing us how we could have a better relationship with our social media.
But you've hit it on the head, though, in terms of commercialism. If
Mhm.
theirs is state run, they don't have to make a profit from it. So I don't know how many adverts, if any, they have for commercial entities on their platforms. Do they?
I don't
Because
know.
Facebook, as one, and Meta, the parent company, they have thousands of adverts.
Yeah, but
They
here's the
have
thing.
to.
Here's the thing. Why? You see, we don't. Okay, I was going to give a solution, but it's not a good solution, and this is why. I believe that there are objective tests that we could run that show that the Chinese government, by and large, works on behalf of its people. Now, unfortunately, in the West, our governments don't work on our behalf; they work for vested interests. Otherwise, the solution would have been, let's nationalize social media companies.
Well, they can't afford to do that, can they? So they're not going to do that.
But you
Their
can't
money will
afford
be
to.
spent elsewhere. No, the money will be spent elsewhere.
Now, what do you
They're
mean they can't afford to? I don't understand.
what, to nationalise it?
Yeah,
What, and take a commercial company and make it into a national company?
yeah,
There's penalties for that in law.
yeah.
Can't do
Okay.
that.
So what you do is you promulgate a new law saying we're not going. It's not that we're not going to pay you; it's that we'll pay you in 50 years.
They're not going to agree to that.
It doesn't matter what you agree. I've got troops. I've got police. I've
Yeah,
got
I
people
know,
with
but that's
guns.
now you've now gone into a fascist state.
Well,
We're
so
not that
have you not
point.
noticed that the people I'm saying we should be like, I kind of, they've got they've got police, they've got I'm just saying we should be like them. So we can't be like them and not be like them. Okay? So yeah, in fact they've got robot police haven't they with guns.
Yeah, I know, which are really scary actually.
Yeah.
That's not good. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, we are aware that China have a device that looks like, we spoke about it on a previous
We
show.
spoke about it on the show.
Yeah, it looks like a big wheel, like a huge tractor wheel, and it's probably what, a couple of meters
Looks like
diameter.
something out of a sci-fi movie.
Yeah, it literally does look like something from a sci-fi movie, and it's like like I said, like a tire, and it's autonomous and it can move and it's got nets in it, and it can go up to 30 mile an hour chasing baddies and throw a net over them. Now you know it's not really going to be too far where it's going to be armed with guns, and that's the next stage if it's not already. So you know that their police is slightly different to ours. That's one way of
And
ensuring
by the way, those are
control.
the friendly police. You
Yeah.
don't want the other ones to show up,
Oh
man.
boy. Oh boy.
Uh,
Okay. Look.
but if you have if you had a government that you could trust, then you would want to nationalize these companies.
Hmm.
And let me give you a different. I know it's a digression, but think about this. Russia has stood up to the U.S., NATO, and other countries. I believe all in all, Russia has stood up to 50 countries. And is defeated basically 50 countries, right? Far,
Hmm.
far, far, far richer than Russia. Far richer than Russia. Apparently, Russia has got an economy that is smaller than that of California. How
Yeah.
did they do it? They did it because all the arms manufacturers work for the government. They're all
Yeah, because
government
they're on a
owned.
war footing now, aren't they?
Not only that, the arms manufacturers, they are owned by the state. They're not trying to make a profit. They're trying to make the most useful weapons that they can. On the other hand,
Well, that doesn't bring innovation, though, does it?
well, it does because they've got the hypersonics and we don't. They've got the Oreshnik missile and we don't. They've got the nuclear cruise missile.
What's that got to do with?
I'm saying that when you've got a company that is working for a profit, it doesn't focus on mission. It focuses on profit. For example, trying to keep eyeballs on using material that isn't maybe good for us, if that's the expression you want to use, the lowest common denominator kind of thing. Why do they do that? Because profits. But if they were not profit driven, they would actually be sitting around having a conversation that, really, should we be doing this? Is this good?
Well, that's not actually true,
Oh, well, how do you
because
know that?
if you compare that to how the Soviet Union was compared to the West, they were so backward because there is no because the lowest common denominator, put it this way, is what is if you're in fear, you act. So in other words, if you're in fear of losing your job because your performance isn't great, you're going to up your performance. So you're going to produce more for the company. That's a profit driven establishment. But if you're going to get paid and they don't care profit at all, you're not going to be chased. You don't have to do anything more than the very minimum. In fact, you may be able to get away with not even doing the minimum. And that used to be the case. So you'd have bureaucracy just for the sake of it because people weren't in it to make a profit. They were just there because they had to do the job. And the lowest common denominator is you want to do nothing or as little as possible. And that's the difference. So whilst you think that would work for a company, innovation is stifled. We touched on it with Trump and these tariffs. He's saying, it's protectionism. That's in a way causes the same problem. You're protecting your economy by raising the tariffs. So people can't buy from producers abroad. They have to buy from their own producers. But the own producers have no competition. So if you have no competition, it stifles innovation. And that happens all the time. Because I can still sell my products. People will buy from me because I've got no competition. So why should I innovate? There's no need.
Okay. I hear what you're saying. Then you got a problem in explaining why, like I said, why is Russia winning? Why is Russia
Well,
won?
I need like I'll quote you. I need facts and evidence to say that winning is a strong statement.
Okay, so very quickly, I don't want to get stuck on this, but very, very quickly, Russia is in Ukraine. Ukraine is not in Russia.
No, I know, but
The
winning and not.
Ukrainian
What do you mean
power
by
grid
winning?
system is kaput, not the Russian power system. So yeah, and then the general, what's his name? Sersky, General Sersky of Ukraine, the man in charge of the war effort, the military man in charge of the war effort, is already sounding alarms. So it's not the Russians who are sounding alarms. Anyway, the argument that you brought up that innovation stems from competition. We've got, I don't know, how would you compare modern, this is for UK residents, like us. How would you compare modern train service with the days of the British Rail? British Rail in its heyday.
In its heyday, you've changed the
Well,
narrative now.
because when was the heyday of privatized rail? When was its heyday? Has it had a heyday? It's how you manage. It's how you manage
You're using a
your.
strange example there because I can cite you an example. I mean, I don't know why we've gone off onto this,
Well,
but
what we're trying to talk about is that if these technologies are bad, would they be less? Basically, we're asking a question: are the technologies bad, or are they awful due to who's running them? That's what we're trying to discern.
okay. Well, in that
Determine.
case, let me give you a real, definite mental health issue related to social media, which is the topic, because there are a lot of people who use social media now as their go-to mechanism, and they living in other people's, they believe other people's view is the reality, and they don't aspire to that reality. So They see their own struggles, their own boredom, their insecurities, but what they see online is this sanitized view,
Mm.
which is, you know, obviously not real most of the time. It's the bet, like, oh, these people are always going on holiday. These people always look good. Or these people, oh, they're always doing fantastic stuff. And then they look at their own life and they go, oh, I don't do that. I don't do it often at all. I must be failing. And it's affecting them. When in reality, the people who they're seeing online, they're seeing the best scenario and thinking it's the norm.
No, it's in the fake actually.
Well, most of it is fake.
I saw
Those
one.
people,
I saw
those
one
people are the same.
influencer was in front of not a green screen, but a specially prepared screen
Yes.
that made it look like she was overseas or something.
Yeah,
She
they're
was in a
all
studio
at it.
flat in London or something.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous.
they're all at it. They're all at it. They all use the tricks because what it is, it pays to get likes.
And
So
money, views.
views, yeah, likes and views, absolutely. It pays. That's
Is that
how
not
the
a human
social
thing,
media
though?
platform.
Is
It's
that
what,
not a
sorry?
human? Is that not a human feeling? Are you not
Well,
again buttressing my point? You can't win in this, man. It's a
no, no,
human
no.
thing.
The point is, the social media companies have picked on that fallible element in
Mhm.
our psyche and ramped it up. And they know that we like the likes. It's almost because you're getting an acknowledgement from somebody. So they've
Yeah, but that's
used it.
fine. Who runs the social media companies?
Humans.
There we go.
Yeah, but the algorithms are not helping the
The algorithms didn't
situation.
invent themselves. Somebody invented the
I
algorithms.
know, but the algorithms were written in such a way to create this disparity, this
Yes,
fragmentation in
yes,
society, and people
yes,
are falling for it.
yes. By humans.
Yes.
Well, there we go. It's the
So do
humans.
so
If
do you
humans
think
wouldn't
that
write
some people
algorithms
need to be
like that,
protected?
sorry?
Do you believe that people should be protected if they're vulnerable?
Not really. No,
No, at
no,
all. What
no.
about children?
No. What about children?
Should they be protected?
That's their parents' job, not mine, not yours. That's up to the parent. That's up to the state, even. It's up to the parents. And if something goes drastically wrong, then we can have a look at the parents. We can have a look at what happened, and then we can deal with it. But
But wouldn't it be
primarily, that's
better
the
to
parents' thing.
prevent the problem occurring in the first place?
It's not. It's not our call. It's not. It's not our. It's not. It's not. You're talking about balance. It's becomes. That's how states become very authoritarian. Once you start saying, "Yeah, the state can," no, it's not our call. So no, I don't. I mean, if something's wrong, child is hurt, anyone, never mind a child, like wherever, the bruises on, and stuff like that. Yeah, we need to know what's going on. What's going on here? But no, otherwise,
So, do you
no.
not like the fact that if something can be prevented from happening, it's not a good way of running a
It
country?
depends what the thing is. I mean, if a plane crash can be prevented from happening, yeah, prevent it. But if you're talking about preventing people from interacting with social media the way they want to interact with it, no, it's free speech. It's up to the people. However, if why do we run things so that we incentivize companies to be that way? That's a better question. Why I can't, it seems that whenever a billionaire is involved and a billionaire wants to do it his way, it's okay. But when the ordinary person on the street says, "Well, isn't there a better way of doing it?" All of a sudden, it's not okay because less money. So this money, this larcenous, mercenary attitude, to me, that's what it's all about. And on the one hand, then on the other hand, is our own base instincts. If
Well,
we can get
that's
into
right.
an argument, if we can see bad things, if we can make fun of people, if we can take part in roasting someone and all this sort of thing, why are we ourselves like that? So, but I'm definitely 100% certain it's not the technology.
Okay. Let me give you an example. Those of you who aren't in the UK, most people in the UK may have seen these adverts. Have you seen? I'm going to single them out because the adverts are so good. So they're going to get a bit of a plug here. Marks and Spencers. Okay. Marks and Spencer's adverts in the UK are phenomenal because they describe their food and you want to eat the food then and there. And they know how to play the food and make it look so good on the screen that your mouth is watering just watching it. And their adverts are incredible. So those of you who aren't in the UK, obviously you may not have seen these adverts. The M&S food adverts, wonderful. They literally have got it down to a T on what we humans desire. So they dangle that desire in front of us on the TV, and we're literally sitting there in front of the TV, with our tongues hanging out, looking at the adverts of the food because they present them so. It is a seduction. I use Tayo's term because they know how to play us. Now, social media companies are using the same seduction techniques, but slightly different, not food related, but with our psyche, so that we are drawn in and want to participate with them. And they keep us coming back for more because they're feeding us with the same things we have shown that we like. And what's the term? Too much of a good thing is too much of the... What's the term?
Too much of a good thing. No, too much of anything is bad for you.
Yeah. And the same with social media. Just too much. They want you to have your eyeballs on it. They want to encourage you to be on there. And so that's the challenge because we're the commodity. We're the thing that makes the money for them. So they want you on there as often as possible. So they incentivize that by dangling things in front of you that keep you coming back for more. So they're looking at our vulnerabilities and exploiting them. And young people are especially sucked into these sorts of things. And that's where I'm saying, is it too much? Should there be a rein? Should there be some sort of, like they do on these betting apps now, they put a time limit. So once you've gone beyond that time limit, you can't use the app for, I don't know, however many hours. Could that be put in place on social media companies? So that once someone has been on a certain number of hours, it automatically says, right, you're done. You need to take a break now. Maybe something like that.
That is incredibly authoritarian. I can understand the one about the gambling, even though I don't agree with it. But then again, I suppose I don't really agree with gambling. So
there you go. You've got you agree with the gambling one because you've not got a dog in
I
the
said
fight.
I don't even agree with the gambling. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, you don't?
I mean,
agree.
I don't think we should allow gambling because it destroys lives. But if you're going to allow gambling, which destroys lives, then having this format, which throws you off the platform, I don't know how that would work. Just get a separate phone, get another phone, and go again.
It's your account, isn't it?
So I can
Unless you
have two
multiple
accounts, no problem.
Yeah. Well, if some people are that desperate, then yeah. But the point is, you want to make it awkward, but you don't want to make it completely ridiculous. But enough to stop people from doing it, and just give them a moment's thought to step away and do something else. I mean, I'm not gonna completely poo-poo everything because that's not the idea here. But I think there has to be some boundaries and some limits put in place just to protect people. You wouldn't
I just
want
want to know what the Chinese experience is. I wish you had brought that up more because that would maybe we need to return to this topic. If it's working out for them in China, then there's a solution and we should implement it. But if it's not working out, if they've got their own problems, then it's still us. It doesn't matter what architecture you create. The problem is with the person using it.
I'm not convinced because I think that. Okay, let me give you an example. This is in your domain, teaching. Do you think that the teacher makes a difference to the education of a child, or is it all on the child?
The teacher makes a difference.
There you go. So you're needing an external element to choose the direction of the child in this example. So
Not really. The teacher is a teacher is not an accelerator. A teacher is a brake. So
so
a
the
good
teacher
teacher,
doesn't part any information to the child.
a good teacher lets the children learn. It creates opportunities for the children to learn. A bad teacher closes opportunities for the children to learn. That's the difference. So the opportunities should be there if you follow the curriculum and your 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 lesson plan, which has been all worked out. You should create opportunities. But some teachers are bad and they get in the way of learning. But you
Define
can't.
bad and get in
Sorry?
the way. Define that.
They bring ego and
Ego
certain lack
to
of.
school.
Sorry?
To school. Ego to
Yes,
school.
yes. I know best. You can't do it like that. And I'm not going to just. I tell you, this is how it's done. Finish. Don't discuss it. So they're not. The children aren't learning how to think. You just tell them what to think. It's a form of indoctrination, and you can't be questioned. The children get bored. They sign out, and they just stop engaging. That's a bad teacher. A good teacher will have an open class discussion, and people will start. The students will start discussing this, and they all get excited. They've all got firm opinions, and then say, "Okay, time to crack on to number two now. What do we do here?" And everybody's excited for the class. There, you're getting out of the way, and you're facilitating learning. This is what I'm saying. But
As
you
long as you're
can't,
directing them in the right way, yes. But
yeah. But
okay.
you can't sort of
So you
magically. I
do
don't know.
need a good teacher.
But you mean they're not bad teachers. That's what I'm trying to say.
We're getting to the top of the hour, but I wanted to ask you one quick one as well. Um, is the internet and social media actually making us smarter, or or is it just making us more confident in our ignorance? For example, people of the same ilk finding one another, like the flat earthers, for instance. I mean, the, before you could talk to other people and get a balance of information, and then maybe your view may change, it may not, but at least you're getting the balance. Now if you come out with something outlandish, you can probably find somebody out there who thinks the same, and you'll only ever be talking to each other. So you never see a correct worldview. You just see your own little silo or echo chamber, and you just reinforce it with one another. So you're not really improving things, are you? But anyway, we've blooming got to the top of the hour here. So you want to sum up very quickly? Do
I've
you
had a quick
think?
look. I've had a quick look,
Go on.
and the thing you were looking for, the name you're looking for is Douyin,
Douyin.
which
Yep.
is the Chinese TikTok,
Yep.
or Zhang Hongshu, which is red, which is the thing I was trying to remember. And what happens in China is heavy real-time censorship by the state and companies. It's called the Great Firewall. Heavy real-time censorship with politics and other subjects just auto-deleted. Can you imagine typing in something?
It just
It's
deletes.
just gone, man.
Wow.
It's just hey, that's just whoa, dude.
Yes, indeed. Indeed.
Yeah. So based on that, obviously, it's going to be a completely different experience. What was the question you're going to ask
The
me?
question was, well, what do you think? Has this been the case of the topic of our show?
Are we
Has
smarter?
social media and the internet destroyed society?
Oh no, society was already. It has accelerated society's downfall, but we were always heading downwards.
I think, well, my conclusion really is social media is like a magnifying glass.
Hmm.
If you're angry, it magnifies your anger. You're going to see other people are angry. If you're kind, it actually magnifies your kindness. So it hasn't actually destroyed the society, it's just revealed who we are.
I must try that kindness thing.
Now, if you've loved this episode, please hit subscribe and stay tuned for more deep dives into prophecies, mysteries, and the unexplained twists of fate. You've listened to Tony and Tyre, and we are the TNT Talk Show, but unfortunately, we have reached the end of the show for another week.